What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to part 4 of the best and worst of each state. If you haven't watched the other ones, there'll be a link at the end of the video. You can catch up whenever you want. Watch them in any order, at your leisure. Again, second time I've ever said that. So here's the deal. Everything has its ups and its downs, its yins and its yangs, its pros and its cons, its James Francos and its Dave Francos. You have your, you know what, you get the idea. Like I said, even Detroit, which by most people's opinion is the worst city in the country. But it's not all bad. The housing is dirt cheap, and the people who still live there love their city and they're very loyal to it. If you haven't watched the other videos of this series, like the title says, we are listing the best and worst of each state. Sometimes it's what the state leads the country in, and sometimes it's what they have the most of. Sometimes we bypass the painfully obvious, like we don't need to tell anyone that Nevada has the most casinos. Everybody knows that, so we do something else. Get it? Good. Let's get started. Here's my best and worst things of all 50 states, part 4. Number 10, New Mexico. The best, low energy. New Mexico has the lowest average monthly energy bill. Electric and other utilities can be pretty damaging to a family's bank account. It's not as big a worry in New Mexico compared to the rest of the states. The average New Mexico resident paid just $76.93 per month for energy in 2018. The worst? Car theft. New Mexico probably isn't the best place to buy your dream car. The state had the most car thefts year over year, more than any other state. In 2018, there were more than 7,000 car thefts. Thankfully, this is down from 2016, where they had 10,000. I didn't even know people were still doing this anymore. I mean, with all the security systems and all that stuff, you'd think people would kind of scale that back a little bit. Number 9, New York. The best? The highest salaries. New York produces some of the highest salaries in the country. The median household income here is about $80,000. That's $21,000 higher than the national average. You are considered rich if you make about $128,000 a year. If you're living in the city, that's still not enough. The worst? Food safety. The state is the worst place you could go to eat out. Just last year, the state had the most cases of food poisoning out of any other state in the country. That's always a great feeling. You take a Tinder date out to eat, you get back to your place, things are moving in the right direction, then you feel the gurgle. Then she feels the same gurgle. You have one bathroom and a kitchen sink. It's decision time. Are you a gentleman? Do you get her a stool so she can hop up and sit in the sink? Or is it every man for themselves? I'd get her the stool. I'm not a pig. Number 8, North Carolina. The best? Sweet potatoes. North Carolina's most produced crop is the sweet potato. The state has been leading this sweet potato production trend since 1971. Hardly anyone in this state is low on vitamin A or C. The worst? STD rates. Too bad sweet potatoes don't have a bunch of B vitamins. They help create white blood cells, which you might need if you're fighting off an STD. North Carolina has some of the worst STD rates in the country. For every 100,000 residents, there's over 1,000 cases of any STD. That's not good. Number 7, North Dakota. Best? Big members. Since the study was only concluded by condom sales and not by a physical exam, it's still not certain, but North Dakota men have the largest junk in the country. North Dakota men purchase more extra-large condoms than any other state. The worst? Binge drinking. You're also more likely to have a drinking problem here. It snows a lot, there's more bars per capita in North Dakota than any other state. Most residents go to the bar for fun since the weather is almost always bad, and that's why there's more binge drinkers in North Dakota than any other state. Number 6, Ohio. The best? Most visited libraries. There are more than 250 libraries in Ohio with more than 480 locations. That may sound weird, but libraries sometimes have multiple locations around the city. This is really what some people do for fun when you have bad weather. Since the weather is often questionable in Ohio, most residents find fun at indoor places, like libraries, which is why Ohio has the most visited libraries out of any state. I'm surprised Oregon doesn't. It's too bad libraries in a way have become a thing of the past. They used to be like a department store of books. Now they're like a little boutique in a mini mall. Here's the branch of the Torrance, California library by my high school. Its own building, it's in a park. Doesn't look like it's in as good a shape as it was when I went there, but it's still its own building in a park. And here's the library by my kids' high school, sandwiched between a karate studio and a bar that has a lot of day drinkers. Get my point? The worst? the water. Don't drink the water in Ohio. Like if you're at the library, you're reading and you get thirsty, stay away from the drinking fountain. Buy some bottled water. The state came in last during the study of water cleanliness by the Natural Resource Defense Council. Remember that Simpsons episode with the three-eyed fish? I am sure they have some there. Hey, at least it's a step in the right direction. It's gotten better since the days when the Cuyahoga River caught fire in Cleveland. And when I say the river, I mean the water actually had flames on it because it had like a, I don't know, maybe a 2-inch thick thing of pollution. You know, there's so much oil and stuff in the water that the river actually caught fire. That's just sad. Number 5, Oklahoma. The best? Man-made lakes. They got a lot of man-made lakes. Since the state is landlocked, they feel the need to create their own waterways. There's about 200 man-made lakes in the state. That's more than any other state. A lot of them are really nice. Adds a lot to the, neighborhoods and the towns and the cities around there. Gives people something to do. The worst? Public assistance. Oklahoma has the nation's third highest rate of people working at or below the minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. This is according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. In 2018, they led the country in the percentage of residents on public assistance. Other states like New York had way more people on public assistance, but the per capita winner was Oklahoma. Number 4, Oregon. The best? Breweries. If you love beer, go to Oregon. There are over 220 different breweries in over 70 different cities, making this one of Oregon's top industries since it produces about $2.8 billion a year. In Portland, where I live, it seems like they have some sort of beer event every single weekend. I'm not even kidding. I go to the dark beer one almost every single year. Matter of fact, last year I had one that, I swear to God, I think they mixed it with tar. It was like the worst dark beer I've ever had, but the rest were great. The worst? Gray and rainy. There are reasons Oregon is one of the most depressing states to live in. Our skies are always gray and the rain never lets up. A lot of people have hot tubs here, but it's rare to meet someone that actually has a swimming pool. You kind of need sunshine for a swimming pool unless it's indoors. We don't have them here. You can't even get to work most days without getting a little wet. If you have mental health issues like depression, Oregon may not be for you. It's dark and gloomy all the time, and that never inspires happiness. Unless you're like some goth kid or something like that. Or my friend Hannah. Number 3, Pennsylvania. The best? Hunting. If you're into hunting, Pennsylvania is your happy place. There are more licensed hunters here than any other state, with about 20 hunters per square mile. The fishing is also outstanding. I go to Honesdale, which is not too far from Scranton, all the time, and there is water everywhere. If you pull out a pole and put it in the water, you're gonna get something. The worst? Bridges. Try not to pass any bridges while you're here. That's really hard considering how much water they have flowing around the state. The state has 22,000 bridges. About 23% of them are considered to be faulty or structurally deficient. This is alarming, seeing how much time I spend here. I go over more than a few sketchy bridges whenever I visit. I'm actually going to look them up now and make sure I go around them. Number 2, Rhode Island. The best? Baked goods. If you're a fan of carbs, Rhode Island is one of the best places you can go for that. Despite being the smallest state, there's more bakeries per capita than any other state. Within Rhode Island, they have about 25 bakeries per every 100,000 residents. That whole keto thing hasn't really taken off here. The worst? Teacher absences. In Rhode Island, it is common for students to attend classes more than the actual teacher. For one reason or another, Rhode Island has more teacher absences than any other state. What's going on with that? I mean, I get it, some place has to be last place, but teacher skipping school, kind of hard to teach responsibility to your students when you're not showing up enough to set a good example. The thing is this, the state gets good school ratings. Those teachers are rarely showing up and they're still doing a great job. Bravo. And number 1, South Carolina. The best? Sweet tea. Sweet tea is an all-American favorite that is especially true in the South. However, the best place you can go in the South for the best sweet tea would be South Carolina. At most restaurants, they'll assume that you're looking for sweet tea and they'll just bring it to you unless you tell them otherwise. Sort of like going to a rundown casino in Vegas. They assume you want Budweiser and not some other beer that's better. Sometimes that's because that's all the casino carries. That's no lie. That actually happened to me one time. Ordered one beer and they told me Bud or Bud Light. Well, no, I said this and they said Bud or Bud Light. That's all we got. It was horrible. Anyway, the worst? Violent crimes. South Carolina pretty much comes in last in cases of violent crimes. On average, they have over 760 violent crimes committed per every 100,000 residents. That means all sorts of violent crimes, not just you got robbed and assaulted. South Carolina has one of the highest rates of domestic violence in the country. All right, so that is the best and worst part 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. We got one more left to go. Hope you guys watched that one. Don't forget all the links below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you already haven't. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.